we have over 100 books. I like when books are floppy. There's just something about demons. It's just hot. I don't know.
Ooh.
It felt like playing D&D, but like as a book. Helen Scherer? Hi you guys, welcome to my strange addiction because, oh my god, because I went crazy. So welcome to my biggest book haul. I feel like I say that every time I do a book haul. I'm like, this is my biggest book haul. This is my biggest book haul. No, this is legit my biggest book haul now because we have over 100 books. Granted, this was not all at once. This has been for the past 7 months of different crap, of different books that we got. We've got all sorts of genres, like literally every single genre is probably in here. So without further ado, grab your drink. I got this for my birthday. Not the drink, the cup, and I thought it was cute. And let's get started with my biggest book haul. All right, so the only books that I separated are like the book boxes. Everything else is like books that I've bought or my fiance's bought for me or whatever. So let's go ahead and get started with that in no particular order. The first books that I'm going to grab are these Joe Abercrombie books because I really want to start reading high fantasy. And Joe Abercrombie, I heard, is the way to go. And so I bought this book, A Little Hatred by him. And then I was told that I can't start here. This is actually the second trilogy to a different series, which is this series here. So I got The Blade Itself, which is the first book. Then I got the second book, which is Before They're Hanged. And then I got the third book in the series, which is Last Argument of Kings. So I got the complete trilogy. And then after I finished this trilogy, I am able to finally move on to this one. I am that convinced that I'm going to like Joe Abercrombie that I have committed to buying 4 effing books from him because like I really think that Joe Abercrombie is going to be for me because I sat down and I read the first few pages of The Blade Itself and right away I was like, yes. It felt like playing D&D, but like as a book. You know what I mean? It like, that was great. That's all I needed. The next book that I got is Zodiac Academy, Origins of an Academy Bully. This is Zodiac Academy 0.5. Yeah, 0.5. So it's a tiny little novella that comes before Zodiac Academy, and it's because I am doing the 2-year-long readathon with Read with Dr. B. And so she's having a 2-year-long readathon where everybody is going to read one Zodiac Academy book a month. And we're starting off with this one. I've read the first 2, but I have not read this. So I'm excited to start this one. The next book that I got is a challenge. This book is going to be a challenge because everybody that talks about it says that it's great, but it is going to take forever to read. And I want to do a reading blog on it where I like do a complete deep dive. And that is going to be House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. And this one I've heard is a labyrinth of a horror story. Like there's just so much to read, so many different ways to read it. And it is one that it's a book that you really have to dissect and read like piece by piece. It's not something that you can read all in one day, if that makes any sense, especially if you want to get everything out of it. Don't know what it's about other than that it's like a scary novel that's very complex. And that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. And I got the remastered full color edition, which I'm very excited for. The next book that I got that I never hauled before is The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Now, I know that recently Jessa Hastings has come under some rumors or something happened with her. I don't know exactly what, but I noticed that people were talking about her. I bought this book before all this controversy. I don't even know what the controversy is, to be honest with you, but I will do some more research on that. But I did buy this because I loved the cover. I literally don't know what it's about, but I love the cover, and that's the only reason why I got it. So the next book that I got was Make Your Own Magic, A Beginner's Guide to Self-Empowering Witchcraft by Amanda Lovelace. And this is a book about beginner's witchcraft. Amanda Lovelace used to write a lot of like feminist poetry that I absolutely loved. And so it's so nice for her to be writing something different. I don't know. I like Amanda Lovelace's writing. I can't wait to see what this is about, but I'm excited for it. The next book that I got was Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Now, I read obviously the Serpent and the Wings of Night series from her, but I have heard that this one is just as good, if not better, and I need to read this. I'm very excited for it. I think it's about a girl that like was brought up into slavery, but then she ends up fighting or something, and then the romance is very trainer-trainee sort of, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. So that's Daughter of No Worlds. The next book that I got is A Broken Blade, The Halfling Saga by Melissa Blair. And the reason why I got this one is because I have seen it compared to Throne of Glass. And I absolutely love Throne of Glass. Like, it is my second favorite series of all time after Fourth Wing. And so, like, give me more Selena Sardothian vibes. That's all I need. That's all I need. The next book that I have also heard compared to Throne of Glass is the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Rorick. So I got the first book in this one. I believe this is a 5-book series. I was very hesitant on getting this one because I have heard very mixed things. However, Melissa K. Rorick wrote another book that I'm about to show you, and I heard people were telling me that I cannot read that book or that series before I read Lady of Darkness because there's an overlap, and that series is Reign of Shadows and Endings by Melissa K. Rorick. So I have heard mixed things about Lady of Darkness, but this book, like, literally people have said nothing but good things about this. I don't think I've heard anybody complain about this thus far. So I need to read this. I need to read this. The next book that I got was A Witch's Guide to Ghost Hunting by Charisse O. Williams. I was listening to a podcast. I don't even know. I can't remember what podcast it was, but there was a woman that came on and she was like a witch that does ghost hunting. And then she was like talking about her book, which is this one here. And I was like, that sounds really good. Let's do it. Let's do it. And so I got it, and I have been using this because she goes over different tools. I have a lot of paranormal investigation equipment, but she also goes over how to use like tarot cards, how to protect yourself, and all that stuff, which I really enjoy and I really do need, because after going ghost hunting at the Queen Mary, I really feel like I brought something home, and so I need to make sure that I keep myself protected and allow that to not happen again. Okay, so the next book that I got, because like I said, I am on my high fantasy era, even though I haven't read high fantasy, I'm in the mood to read high fantasy, and like I said, I'm going to come out with a whole reading vlog for it. And I also got Shadow of the Gods by John Gwain. I heard this is a Norse mythology retelling with like these gods that wake up and they go against humanity, I think. That's all I know about it. I heard that it's good. I heard that it's action-packed, and I love that. I love when fantasy has like action-packed scenes. That's like my favorite part. So the next book that I got was The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This is a sapphic high fantasy, I believe, about this girl who's like looking, she's a con artist, and she's looking something for her sister. Something, she wants to secure her sister's future or something like that. I don't know. This is, I don't know. I literally have been looking at the cover of this book for a couple years now, I want to say. And so I'm glad that I finally picked it up. Now, the next three books, I should say. The next books that I got were Mary by Nat Cassidy, and I also got Nestlings by Nat Cassidy, or more accurately, my fiance got me these. These are two different horror books. This one, Mary, is about a woman who starts having terrifying things happening to her, but her doctor believes that it's just menopause because she is getting older. And then Nestlings is about it's a retelling of Rosemary's Baby, but I think there's like creepy bird people in this. Anyways, I heard that these were really good, and I've already read one book by Nat Cassidy, which was great. And that's also going to be for reading vlog coming up, where I do like an author taste test. The next book that I got that I'm also going to do a reading vlog for is The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. I've been wanting to read this book for the longest time, and it's one of those floppy books. I like when books are floppy. And this one is, you know, Dante's Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso. We've all seen like different retellings in Bayonetta, if you guys play video games, in Devil May Cry, in Over the Garden Wall. All of that is a retelling of this story, so I can't wait to read the original and compare it to that new R.F. Kuang book that is coming out. Now moving on to my next stack here. So the first book that I'm going to show you guys is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Kuang, because like I said, I am in my high fantasy era, and I've heard that this one is really, really good. I've heard that this is gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and it's been a while since a book has made me cry, so I want something that is going to make me cry. So hopefully this baby does it. And yeah, and the next book is How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. This book kind of reminds me of the synopsis for Long Live Evil, where we follow a person that but in this one we follow a person who reincarnates as a hero every single time, but every single time she is unalived by the villain, and then she decides, she's like, you know what, if the villain wins every single time, what if I become the villain? And so that's what she tries doing. I heard that it's humorous and it's funny, and it just seems fun. So the next book is The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buhlman. And this one, I heard that, again, it's very funny, very hilarious, very more I feel easier for when you're a fantasy beginner. And that's all I need to know about it. I got this book because I saw it advertised on Instagram, and I was like, I need this book in my life. And so as soon as it came out, I'm like, yes. That book is Roll for Romance by Lenora Woods. Like I say, if you guys have watched any of my reading vlogs, I am a avid D&D player. I love Dungeons and Dragons. It's just so much fun. I love role playing. I've always been the little girl that loved acting and all that, so being able to play this fictional character and bringing her to life. I play a high elf sorceress named Selena Belladonna. And so I love D&D, and I saw this, and it's about these two people, right, who start to play D&D together, and then their characters in D&D start falling in love, but then the actual people also start developing a little fancy for each other. So I'm so excited to read this. This just looks like so much fun. The next book that I got is The Stowaway by James S. Murray and Darren Wearmouth, because my fiance and I used to watch Impractical Jokers all the time. In fact, my fiance still watches a lot of Impractical Jokers, and I used to have this huge crush on Q. Yeah, I used to have this huge crush on Q. I still kind of do. He's not as cute as he used to be. I like the long hair. I like guys with long hair. Anyways, so that has nothing to do with this book. Anyways, other than the fact that James Murray, who is one of the Impractical Jokers, wrote this book. But again, I heard that he recently also came under some controversy, but I don't know how accurate that is. I've heard this from one person, and that's all. I haven't looked it up myself. So we shall see, because, and I really, really hope that controversy that I heard is not true, because I really wanted to read this. I really, really want to read this. The next book that I got is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, because we love T. Kingfisher. I've never read T. Kingfisher, but I have a lot of their books. And this is a fantasy sort of book. I know that T. Kingfisher writes a lot of fantasy and horror books. So this is a fantasy. and I'm excited to read that one. And then the next book that I got is A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. This is a romantasy. Don't have any idea what it's about, so don't ask me. I just saw it at a used bookstore and I was like, that looks cute. Let's get it. And that's it. That was my thought process. The next book that I got is the first book in the Legends of Thesmar series, which is Blood and Steel by Helen Shearer. I don't know how to say her name. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Anyways, this is a romantasy series, and I have not picked this up because it is a chunky book, and I recently started hearing so many mixed things about this series. Like, it's worth it, it's not worth it. The ending is not that strong. The beginning is not that strong, and so now I am very intimidated to even start it. So we'll see. The next book that I got is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Brennan. This is a story about, I think she's like this guy that like, she falls in love with this guy, or is she a undertaker? Maybe she's an undertaker. I thought the guy was an undertaker, but maybe she's an undertaker. And it is a romance story with a 30 plus main character, meaning she's over 30 years old. And I've been wanting to read more books with older main characters because I'm tired of always listening to or reading about like these little 20-year-olds. Like, hello, us in our 30s can do it too. Anyways, the next book that I got is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. This is a book that I got for Christmas, and this is about a woman, think like The Orphan, you know what I mean? If you guys have ever seen that movie where like they adopt this little girl that ends up being effing bonkers. And that's exactly what's happening here. So the little girl is getting very close to the father, but she absolutely despises the mother, and she's a nightmare. The next book that I got that I actually already read is Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a book that took place on a Native American reservation, I believe, and we are following this 12-year-old boy who starts seeing his father, who has already passed away, around his house, and then his father is not what it seems. I did not like this book. I just think Stephen Graham Jones' writing is just not for me. This is my second book by him, and I've been disappointed twice now. The next book that I got is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, because I heard that this is like a cozy sci-fi, and I already know that I like cozy fantasy, so I wonder if I would like a cozy sci-fi. So I don't know what this is about, just heard it's a cozy sci-fi, and that's all I need to know. The next book that I got is Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and it is absolutely stunning. Purple and green are like literally my two favorite colors. So this cover makes me very happy. I love it. I love it. I love the colors. I love this cover. And this is a sapphic monster romance about this monster that falls in love with like a human woman. And say no more, say no less. I've been wanting to read this. I've been wanting to get my hands on that. The next book that I got, and I actually finished halfway through, and then I just stopped because I don't even know. I was having such a good time, and then after the couple gets together, I'm like, that's it. They got together, like, I felt like it was like slowly progressing. Their relationship was slowly progressing, and I was like, ooh, I like this. I like this banter. I like how they're flirty. And then all of a sudden, it's like, it jumps from like 10 to 100 real quick, and I'm like, okay, now that's boring. That's boring. Okay, they're already together and we're not even like halfway through. That sucks. But yeah, so this book is about this girl who ends up passing away. I like her personality. I love my morally gray FMCs, and this woman is morally gray. Her name is Lily, and she ends up working in hell, basically helping people get in line and in order, and like really taking care of like the people that like have their attitudes and like, do you know who I am? And she's like, you're in hell, bitch. I don't care who you are or what you were back then, because you are in our turf now. And so that was really fun. And then she falls in love with this demon, and then their like romance starts off so cute, and then moves forward too fast for me. I wish they had like dragged that slow burn on a little bit longer. Next I got Gideon the Ninth. because I don't know. I don't know. I heard this is lesbian necromancers in space, right? Yeah, like it's lesbian necromancers in space. And do I need to hear anything else? No. That's it. That's all I need to know. And then the next book is A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. This one I also got for Christmas from my lovely nephew. And I don't know what this is about. I swear, like all of these books, I'm like, these are so pretty. Oh, the ratings are pretty good. Let's buy it. And then I don't know what it's about. So same thing with this. It's a romantasy, an adult romantasy. And then the next book that I got is I Got Abducted by Aliens, and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming, because Kimberly Lemming, like literally everything that I have read from this woman is fantastic, hilarious, and I need to pick all of her books up. And this one we are following a woman. She has a PhD in wildlife biology, and she's attacked by a lion, but then she gets saved by an alien, and the alien takes her to outer space, and then the lion accidentally ends up going with them to outer space too, and they end up on this like dinosaur planet, and then she becomes friends with the lion, and then it's like a love triangle with like two different aliens. It just seems like a really fun, silly time. And so when I'm going to save this book for if I read a lot of dark books and I need a little break, right? And I need something more lighthearted. I know what I'm reaching towards. The next book that I got is Role Playing by Kathy Yardley. This is another book that I got because these characters are older. The male is 50 years old and the woman is 48. So they are older characters that fall in love, and like I said, I want to read more books with older main characters. Not that they're old, right? Like that's not old, but older than like 18, 20, you know what I mean? So, and then the next book that I got is Heavenly Bodies by Imran Eru. This is another one that like I don't know what this is about, but this is one that I think it's about this like girl that like has been foretold that she's gonna fall in love with some guy who's like a fallen star or some shit like that, and then that's gonna cause something horrible, and then she meets this guy and she does start to develop feelings for him, and that's all I know. That's all I know. And then we have Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tolley. Don't know what this is about, but I heard which actress was talking about it. Was it Katherine Heigl or whatever her name is? The one that just started like that dog food brand. I think she was talking about this book and this series, and she said that it's really good. And I was like, okay, I need to read it now. And like that's all I know. And then the next book that I got is The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. This is a book that it's a YA book, but it's about like witches and demons. So I need it in my life because it has witches and demons, which are like two of my favorite things. That just sounds really weird. But you know what I mean? They're just interesting to read about. Okay, we like demons when they're fictional. The next book that I got is The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. And the reason why I got this is another floppy book. We love the floppies. Yes. We love the floppy books. We don't like when books flop, right? We like floppy, not flops. And so this one, I got this one because I recently saw, I think her name is Leandra, the TBR Zero, and it was like the Battle of the Booktubers, and she just read this book and she said that it was really, really good. And I was like, okay, I need it. That's it. I need it. And so I got it, and I want to actually read this to my daughters, to my kids during bedtime, and this is all 5 books in one. So yeah, that's and it's like a sci-fi. It's like a sci-fi that has a lot of like a huge fan base. The next book that I got is one that everybody is talking about right now. It is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. This is a high fantasy, dark academia sort of book, and I'm excited for this. I'm excited for it. It is effing huge. Why are all high fantasy books so big? Because of the world building? Probably. But don't know what this is about other than the fact that it's dark academia fantasy, and I don't know. I'm excited. It is called The Deathless One by Emma Hamm, and it has these beautiful sprayed edges. And this one we are following a woman named Jessamine, and she basically marries into this kingdom to save her people who are like passing away, right? Yeah, her people are passing away from like an incurable plague. And so she marries this person because she thinks that he's going to help save her people. But when she marries him, he ends up like unaliving her right away. And so she meets the death god. And then the death god is like, hey, I'll make you a deal. I'll bring you back to life. But in return, I get to use your body. And so she's like, all right, sure. As long as I can get my revenge, sure. And so they make that deal. And so she definitely wants to get her revenge. So I'm pretty sure we're getting a morally gray FMC, which again, I love. And then we are getting this death god who I believe they start to fall in love or have some sort of feelings for each other. And yeah, I mean, it is, oh no, I thought it was like one of those Bloom books. And I was like, you gotta know, if it's a Bloom book, you gotta know that it's gonna have some smut in there. The next series that I got, these are 3 books in one. I got the Poppy War trilogy, or actually more accurately I should say, my fiance got me the Poppy War trilogy because I've been wanting this for so long. So it comes with the Poppy War, the Dragon Republic, and the Burning God. I've been wanting to read this series for a while now, and I'm excited to finally get to it. And the next book that I got, this is another one from the used bookstore, and that is Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. I had been wanting to read this for a while now. It is about like people going on vacation, and they go to this like haunted cottage or something like that, and it's haunted, and that's all I know. So it is a horror book, and it's by Kelly Armstrong, who wrote this book a long time ago that had like werewolves in it. Then I got 2 books by Dean Koontz. And I got Mr. Murder, and I got Intensity. I heard that these books were really good. So the next book that I got is We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. This is another book that I also started reading, and I got a little less than halfway. I got to like the 40% mark, I want to say. Yeah, like the 45% mark. And this is about a woman who just recently went under an accident, and then she moves into this house with her husband. And she starts to, because of her accident, she was in a coma, and they're saying that she might have some hallucinations. And so she moves to this house, and then she thinks, she's so convinced that it's haunted, but is it haunted or is it just her hallucinating? I DNF'd this. It's a soft DNF. I might get back to it later, but I just got over a reading slump, and that book was putting me in a reading slump. Like I found myself like not wanting to pick it up. And yeah, so now I am in a bit of a reading slump again because of that book. So we'll go back to that when I'm not in a reading slump. The next book that I got is Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I have Spark of the Everflame. I've been having Spark of the Everflame before it was traditionally published. And now I got the second book in the series, and so I'm excited for that. Have I read them? No, but I've heard that it's very good. We got the love triangle. I'm sorry, you guys, but I am one of those girlies that loves the love triangle trope. I'm sorry, I do. I'm a sucker for a love triangle, as long as it's adult, not YA. And then I also got this book back in April when I went to Florida for like a convention for my job, and they were passing out these books. And so I got Millionaire Success Habits, The Gateway to Wealth and Prosperity by Dean Ivyiousivy. And yeah, I got that. There's like not really much to say about that. So I got, speaking of, these next 4 books, and they're only 4 books, are nonfiction. The rest are fictional. I got The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, who is the same person that wrote the 5-Second Rule book. So this is all about like letting people say whatever they want and just not letting them control your life. And then I got How to Be Enough, Self-Acceptance for Self-Critics and Perfectionists. And then lastly, for the nonfiction, I got Who Better Than You? The Art of Healthy Arrogance and Dreaming Big by Will Packer. This is all about confidence, and I just literally just reading the intro was like so fun. Like, this author knows how to write, like how to keep you like engaged even for a nonfiction. And then back to the fictional books. I got 4 Ruined Realms by May Corland. This is the second book in the 5 Broken Blade series, and the third one just came out, I believe, too. So I got the second one, and have I read this series? No, I have not, but I need to collect them with the sprayed edges so that, you know, they match. And then not lastly, I also got this book, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by Clay McLeod Chapman. I was so excited to read this, and I read this back in January, and it sucked, but it sucks. I really wanted to like this, but unfortunately I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up in one of my worst reads of the year because it was horrible. I'm sorry. I did not like it. It was just so, the author just did a little too much, and it just felt nasty, and like there was just things that didn't need to be in there that were in there, and it just came off as like really creepy, and not in a good way. Really creepy as in like you're a creep, you know what I mean? And then the next book that I got, I actually have 4 of these, but I have Onyx Storm because I pre-ordered one and it didn't come in. So I had to go to Barnes & Noble because I wanted to start reading the book that day. And so I went to the midnight release and I got another copy. And then I went to go see Rebecca Yarros live and I got this a signed copy. And then I went to Target and I got the Target exclusive edition. So I have 4 copies of Onyx Storm. I am only showing you 3, but the 4th one is in my closet. Yeah, I got 4 copies of Onyx Storm. Unintentionally, okay? It's not to resell them or anything like that. It's just an unintentional thing. It just sort of happened. The next book that I'm going to talk about is The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. This is a thriller book by Jack Ketchum. I wonder how gory this is going to be because I know Jack Ketchum is known for writing like dark, gory horror books. And so we'll see how dark this one is. It was blurbed by Stephen King, so it's got to be, you know, a little spooky. And this is our book club pick for this month. Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson, because I want to start devouring tackling the Cosmere universe. I got Rest Up by Night Cassidy. This is the Night Cassidy book that I have already read. It was really good. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I got Anathema by Carrie Lake, and I loved this book so much, you guys. You guys can see all my tabs. I loved this book so much that I literally started buying all the other books that Carrie Lake has written because I just loved her writing that much. So I got Nocticadia, and then I got her other duology, which is Nightshade and Infernium. So I got these 2. And then I got the 3rd book in the Emily Wilde trilogy. This is going to complete the trilogy. And then I got Metal Slinger. This is also a book that I read earlier this year. This was going to be like a 4-star. I know this has now been like traditionally published, but I read this before it was traditionally published. And this was initially going to be like a 3.5 to 4-star, but after the ending is effing crazy, and that bumped it up to like 5 stars. That ending was perfect. Next, I got My Funny Demon Valentine by Aurora Asher, and this one also has the cute little sprayed edges. And this is about a musician and a demon. I don't know. We like demon romances. There's just something about demons. It's just hot. I don't know. Then I got the Book of the Unnamed Midwife by Meg Ellison. I probably am going to read this in the colder months. This is a post-apocalyptic tale. It won the Philip K. Dick Award for Distinguished Science Fiction in 2014. So this is a post-apocalyptic book, and we are following a unnamed midwife. Then I got Strange Pictures by Yuketsu. This is the Japanese mystery horror sensation. This is a collection of like short stories that kind of like interconnect. So even though they're separate stories, they do sort of merge together. And this is another book that I got halfway into, and I just like, it was okay, but I wanted it to be spookier. I was expecting, like, when I hear Japanese horror, I'm like, I was expecting like top line horror. Like Junji Ito knows how to make Japanese horror. Like, oh my gosh, so I was expecting that. You know what I mean? I was expecting that, and I did not get that with this. And so because of that, I DNF'd it, but I will hopefully one day get to it again. And then lastly, I got this at the book fair. It was like a blind book, and it's called Not So Yours Truly by Warts and Claws Inc. series by Cleo Evans. However, this is book 4, and I'm like, and I know they're like interconnected standalones, but I'm like, why would you wrap up the 4th book in a series without, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was kind of pissed off about that. I was like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I know they're interconnected standalones, and you could read the 4th one without reading the other 3, but come on. Come on. Obviously, most people are going to want to read the first 3 before they get to this one so they don't get spoiled. And so I was a little bit upset at that. And then now we're going to get to my book boxes. So these are all the special editions from like Fairy Loot and Illumicrate. So I got A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena, and this is the Fairy Loot edition. So as you can see, it's stunning. It's stunning. She's stunning. She's stunning. She's stunning. And then you take off the jacket, and she continues to be absolutely stunning. I got Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I have 2 books, 2 editions of this book now because I didn't know if they were going to send me this one with the Fairy Loot edition. But again, is another one that she's stunning. She's stunning. She is stunning through and through. And then the actual reversible cover looks more like the actual cover that's like mass marketed or whatever. And then this book I did read, and I gave it a 3.5 star, I believe, 3.5 or 4 star. Yeah, I feel like it could have been a potential like 4.5 star if it had been 150 pages shorter, because it was way too long. Then I got, this one is a Illumicrate exclusive. This is A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayend. Another one that is, she's stunning. And then you have this beautiful, as you can see, beautiful cover. It's like absolutely gorgeous. The next book after that is, I got this Monster of Mine by Shalani Ivyiousivy. This is a Fairy Loot exclusive. Another one that's just stunning, right? Stunning. Stunning. She's stunning. She's stunning. I feel like, oh my gosh, like there's just so much naked cover, and then oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I love how like Fairy Loot even does like the reversible covers and this beautiful intricate like artwork on the inside. I love that. And then I got Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. This is also a Fairy Loot exclusive. And this one looks like this. Has the reversible cover. Looks like the original. It looks like that in the back. And then also, she's stunning. The Scorpion and the Night Blossom. This is another Fairy Loot exclusive edition. Oh, and that is just absolutely gorgeous, is it not? I don't even remember looking at this one. That's so beautiful. And then we have, this couple is just, they're just beautiful. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. And then we have Immortal by Sulin Tai, or Sulin Tan, I'm sorry, Sulin Tan. And this one I heard was in, like, if you like Demon Hunters, you might like this book, and that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. There's another one that's absolutely stunning when you take off the thing. And then, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's beautiful. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to my aardvark books, and then we're gonna move on to, lastly, book of the month. When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, because like I said, I am making a Nat Cassidy reading blog where I read his books and determine if I think he's worth the read or not. Then we got The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, because I have been wanting this book for a long time. I have heard nothing but good things from this author and from this book, so I really want to read it. Then we have Cross My Heart by Megan Collins. This is a thriller that I actually already read, and I believe I gave it a 4 or 4.5 star. I really did like this one a lot. Then we got You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. And this one, I don't know. It has like really bad reviews on Goodreads, so I'm like, I don't even know if I want to give it a try. And then I got the books that literally everybody's talking about these right now, and that is The Tainted Cup and the second book, A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. Everybody's talking about these. This is a fantasy mystery book that's mimics Sherlock Holmes a lot. And everybody, like literally that's another book that I have heard nothing but good things about. Then I got The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. This one I already finished. I already read it. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. The book, I gave it like 2 stars. I didn't like it. I did not like it. And then we got Salt Bones by Jennifer Givehand, which is a horror retelling of Demeter's myth and her descent into like finding Persephone. So this is a retelling of that story, but make it horror and like historical fiction, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to be reading that in an upcoming reading blog. Then, sticking with the whole Joe Abercrombie theme, I got The Devils by Joe Abercrombie because everybody and their mom is talking about this book. And this is one that I don't have to read those other books to read, because this is its own separate series and it's not in the same world or anything like that. But I still want to read the other ones before I read this one. Then I got Hungerstone. This one I did read, and it is in my reading lesbian vampire books. I love this book. This book made me realize that I actually do still enjoy historical fiction as long as it's feminist. So I loved this. Then I got Junie by Erin Crosby Eckstein. I believe this is also a horror, or like a gothic horror historical fiction book. Don't know too much about what it's about, but I just remember looking at it and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. I also got Julie Chan Is Dead by Leanne Zhang. This one I've heard very mixed things about, but I do still want to give it a try. Then one that I was excited for and now I'm like dreading reading it, but I still want to try it, is The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, because we already know that me and Stephen Graham Jones so far have not been a good fit. But maybe, like I've heard people being like, I never liked any of his books, but I did like this one. So you never know, maybe I'll enjoy it. Then I got Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker. This is another one that I read, and it's coming in an upcoming reading vlog, and it is so good. This book I really enjoyed. I think I gave it like a 4.5 or 5 star. I just loved it. It reminded me of like the same sort of like character, like the personality of like the woman from Convenience Store Woman, which is like one of my favorite books. And that sort of like pacing and style mixed with horror. And I don't know, I really liked this book a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Then we got Upon a Starlit Tide by Kel Woods. This is a historical fantasy about a mermaid. So excited to read that. And now let's move on to my Book of the Month books. So for my Book of the Month books, I got Silver Elite by Danny Francis. Everybody's talking about this one. Don't know what it's about, but I guess we will see. Then I got This Princess Kills Monsters by Rai Herman. This is a feminist queer, but I'm excited to read this one as well. Then I got These Summer Storms, which I believe has been compared to like the Inheritance games, but made adult. So I'm excited to read this one. Then I got The Compound, which I'm very excited for. It's like a sci-fi-ish sort of game show, which sounds really fun to me. Then I got The God of the Woods that won the Book of the Year award for 2024, and I got this one for free because like I'm a BFF. Then I got Scythe and Sparrow, which I also already read, and this was a 4-star read for me. I really enjoyed that. This was probably, I liked the main character in this book more than the other 2 main characters, but I think I liked the first book the most. Then I got Kingdom of the Claw, which is the second book in the, whatever this series is called, Road of Bones or something like that. Have I read Road of Bones? No. But I still got the second book regardless because I feel like I'm going to like it. And then I got Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. She is a, She is a female, obviously. She is a thriller author. And I haven't read any of her books, but I own like 3 of them now. And then we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Like I said, I already read this book and I enjoyed it. And then I got Aftertaste by Daria Lavelle because this book, I've never heard of it, but the synopsis sounds so unique. It's about like a ghost, like a chef that can cook for ghosts, which is very interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I have King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby because this book looked really good. It's about like a person that starts working with like the mafia or something like that. I don't know, but I heard it's really good. S.A. Cosby only had, like, everybody raves about his books. Like, I don't think anybody has ever, I'd never heard a negative review of his books. And then I got First Time Caller by B.K. Borison because this is a story where, again, the main character is 30 plus, or the mother is 30 plus, and we follow her love story. And then I got Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven because even though this is a YA story, I love the time loop and reincarnation tropes. Those are like my 2 favorite tropes to read about. And this one has that. So this is about 2 people that fall in love over and over again, and in every timeline that they fall in love, every reincarnation, they have to kill each other. Then we have Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. This is a thriller that I still have yet to read. For some reason, the cover reminds me of like The Handmaid's Tale or something. I don't know. It might not even be anything that has to do with that, but that's what it reminds me of. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we have Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the 2nd book in the Phantasma series. I'm very iffy about this book. Everybody says it's good, but I really didn't like Ophelia's sister from the first book, so we'll see how I feel about it, because everybody also said that A Court of Silver Flames, Nesta's story, was really good, and it was like, I enjoyed it, but I obviously liked Feyre's point of view a lot more, so we'll see how I feel about this. Anyways, you guys, that is literally all the books that I bought. As you can see, this is like over 100 books that I have accumulated in the past 7 months, and I think I'm done for a little while. Other than like buying sequels. Yeah, I'm done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I thank you. I'm so sorry that I couldn't really get into detail about every single book, because then this video would be like a bajillion years long. But if you guys want to know any more about any of these books, let me know down in the comments. If you want me to do a not a review, but I can do a book review if you want me to, but a reading vlog or anything like that, let me know down below as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful day. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button because it really helps out my channel. All right, love you, bye. And then if you made it to the end, put a book emoji, like an open book emoji. All right, bye.